Heavy, weary footsteps dragged across the gleaming floor. Gilly gasped in astonishment as the twins Daytona and Haytona appeared at the door, covered in mud, still clutching hoes and shovels. Jin casually welcomed them. "Welcome, brothers. You arrived quite quickly." Daytona, frowning, snapped, "Shut up. We've done as you asked, so hurry up and give us the soup." "It's already on the table over there," Jin replied with a smile. Hearing this, Daytona's eyes lit up. "Really? Where?" Both rushed towards the table, but then froze in silence. On the pristine white plate were two tiny teaspoons, each holding a single golden drop of soup. The atmosphere grew tense. Daytona gritted his teeth, his voice dropping ominously. "Hey, little brother, these are teaspoons, aren't they?" Haytona continued, his face dark with anger. "Isn't this a bit too little?" Standing opposite, Jin remained calm, explaining nonchalantly, "I said I'd give you some, but I never specified how much. But I kept my promise, didn't I? So please, enjoy." Haytona trembled with rage, forcing out each word through clenched teeth. "Yeah, thank you very much."
A deluge of white rain poured down, washing the entire forest in cold water. Under the heavy rain, Jin pulled his hood tighter, a pensive expression on his face. When he arrived in front of a cave entrance, he stopped. The entrance was sealed by a messy pile of earth and rocks. Looking at the makeshift but sturdy structure before him, Jin muttered to himself with a hint of surprise. "I thought they'd just rush it, but they actually did quite well." He approached, tapping lightly on the earthen wall to check its thickness. With this thickness, a one-star spell should be enough. A brilliant green light suddenly flared from Jin's palm. His face lit up with excitement, a wide grin replacing his earlier composure. The long-accumulated frustration seemed to dissipate, and he inwardly cheered, "I've been quite annoyed, with mana just building up and no place to use it." Emerald magical energy swirled tightly around him, signaling an impending release of power. An intense surge of emerald energy erupted, enveloping the surrounding space. The ground beneath Jin's feet began to tremble and crack as a colossal magic circle glowed brilliantly. The energy surged, tearing apart everything in its path. When the energy dissipated, Jin floated in mid-air, surrounded by shattered rock fragments. He smiled contentedly. "Finally, I've arrived," Jin murmured softly, his gaze fixed forward. The Runcandel clan's secret vault. Before him stood a massive gate, radiating an ethereal blue light and sealed by thick chains. The Runcandel clan's emblem was intricately carved in the center. Jin looked up at the gate, a strange feeling stirring within him. He mused, "In my previous life, I never had the chance to come here, so it feels quite unfamiliar. My brother told me I needed to say a password." At this thought, a confident smile subtly formed on Jin's lips.
Jin read the password. "Son of Runcandel, come here to comfort Murakan." He placed his hand on the ancient symbol on the ground. Immediately, a blue light emanated from the carvings, and the massive stone gate, sealed by heavy chains, slowly began to move with a resonating creak. Light from within shone upon Jin's determined face. Stepping through the threshold, a vast, overwhelming space unfolded before him. Enormous stone pillars stretched high, disappearing into the darkness above, and the entire hall was enveloped in a mystical blue light. This was the Runcandel family's secret archive, where the techniques of families they had annihilated over the past 1,000 years were stored, a sanctuary accessible only to the family's flag-bearer. "It's truly immense," Jin whispered, his voice lost amidst the ancient silence. Memories of his brother's harsh words suddenly resurfaced, cold and full of contempt. He said, "I didn't need to know about this place because I wasn't qualified to become such a person." Those words once made young Jin bow his head, sweat beading from a sense of inferiority and shame. But now, standing amidst this sacred space, Jin's gaze no longer held the weakness of the past. Instead, it was filled with unwavering resolve. "But you helped me a lot, brother. Now I will make good use of it." A powerful surge of blue energy suddenly flared, swirling around him.
In the dark, cold space, Jin stood frozen, his eyes reflecting confusion. Before him was an unbelievable sight, a gigantic cylindrical containment unit emitting an ethereal blue light, illuminating a corner of the mysterious laboratory. Inside the swirling water and energy currents, a figure was suspended. "What is that?" Jin wondered, his eyes wide with astonishment as he stepped closer. He could now clearly make out the form of the man inside. He had a powerful physique, but was enveloped by a dark, gloomy aura. As the blue light swept over, Jin was horrified to notice strange black streaks on the man's neck and cheekbones. Scales? Could it be, this isn't human? Questions ceaselessly erupted in Jin's youthful mind. The scene was both terrifying and strangely captivating. Driven by an invisible force, he stepped forward, his small hand trembling as it pressed against the cold glass of the chamber. He looked up, trying to find an answer to the creature's existence, his heart filled with bewilderment. Why is something like this here? Suddenly, a slight movement inside the chamber made Jin jump. A cold bead of sweat broke out, rolling down his temple as a horrifying thought began to form, sharp and terrifyingly clear. Don't tell me.
Jin froze as he realized who the entity was, whispering in awe, "Black Dragon Murakan? I heard Black Dragon Murakan was defeated by the first flag bearer and fell into a deep slumber, but I never thought that story was true." Jin's eyes were filled with doubt mixed with curiosity as he looked up at the imprisoned legendary creature. However, he quickly shook off his astonishment, remembering his main objective. I don't have time for this. Where are the secret techniques? Are they here?" As Jin's small hand touched the cold surface of the crystal block, the fingers of the entity inside suddenly twitched slightly, a sign that life still existed. Ignoring that ominous sign, Jin tiptoed around the crystal block. His eyes lit up as he discovered a secret entrance behind it. "Found it," he muttered in triumph. Stepping through the entrance, a colossal library appeared before him, towering shelves filled with ancient technique scrolls. Removing his black cloak, Jin looked around eagerly. There are secret techniques from all kinds of clans here. Let's see.
Jin muttered with a determined expression. Let's see, the Kungan family is also a family of swordsmen. Flipping through the old book pages, he frowned slightly. 3-star magic theory is really tough. Jin glanced around, hesitation clear in his eyes. He really wanted to take these books, but the risk of being discovered was too great. His hand reached into his shoulder bag, then hesitantly withdrew, placing the book firmly back on the table. Immediately after, an idea sparked in his mind, and a cunning smile spread across his lips. Taking out a special tool, he thought to himself, in that case, I'll copy them every time I come here. Back in his room, while Jin was engrossed in reading his notes, a maid with a gentle smile brought him a fragrant plate of strawberry cake. Suddenly, an image flashed through his mind, a simple grave with a wooden cross where vibrant red roses bloomed beside a few small puddles of water. As night fell, under the warm lamplight, Jin diligently sat at his desk, meticulously transcribing each line of magic knowledge. Suddenly, a faint creak sounded, followed by a soft hiss. The pen in his hand paused. Jin's eyes narrowed, his sharp gaze directed towards the source of the sound.
Unexpected footsteps echoed in the silent space of the secret library, interrupting Jin's concentration. The boy startled and turned around, eyes wide with caution. "Who's there?" he whispered. His heart pounding, Jin cautiously hid behind the bookshelf, peeking out stealthily. No way! At this hour, there shouldn't be anyone in Storm Castle's secret library, should there? A deep, threatening voice echoed from the darkness. "Hey, kid." From the crack of a secret door, a tall figure slowly emerged. In the dim light, only a pair of glowing yellow eyes could be seen, shining menacingly in the darkness. "What are you?" the voice echoed again. Jin froze, stunned, speechless. He recognized the figure. Murakan. Why? Why is Murakan here? In my previous life, I never heard of Murakan awakening. Panic surged within him, but he forced himself to calm down. Calm down. Murakan is the family's guardian dragon. Perhaps if I show respect and act like a child, he'll let me off the hook. Gathering all his courage, Jin stammered, "This child of Runcandel respectfully greets the family's guardian." His words were met with a mocking smirk. Murakan's entire body trembled slightly, a low growl rumbling from his throat.
A roar tore through the air, carrying a rage as swirling as hellfire. The giant shadow of a dragon appeared behind Jin, scaring the boy stiff. "Guardian? You dare call me a guardian?" Immediately, his eyes bulged, sharp fangs bared menacingly. "How dare you treat me like a common guardian? Damn it, Runcandel, is that what you taught everyone about me?" Murakan's fury hadn't subsided. He continued to violently shake Jin in his hand. "Damn it, I can't get mad at this kid, but he's driving me crazy." Jin could only think to himself while being shaken back and forth, "You're already mad at me. Finally, the anger subsided. Murakan slumped his head, sighed in frustration, and muttered, "Damn it, damn it, damn it." Suddenly, he froze, sniffing as if he'd caught a familiar scent. Murakan slowly lifted his head, his gaze fixed on the boy standing before him. "It's been so long since I've smelled such a pleasant scent, and all I see is a child?" Jin flinched and took a step back, sensing the man's scrutinizing gaze. "You?" Murakan asked, his voice deepening. "Yes," Jin replied hesitantly. Murakan leaned in close, his sharp eyes piercing Jin, his voice serious. "Why do you smell of shadow energy?" Jin's eyes widened in surprise. "Shadow energy?" "That's right," Murakan asserted firmly, pointing directly at Jin. "Even though I've been asleep for 1,000 years, I still remember this scent very clearly. This distinctive shadow energy scent."
Murakan declared unequivocally, shadow energy should only come from those with a pact, like Temar. Those words struck Jin's mind like lightning, making the boy stunned by a realization. The reason Murakan awakened was because of my shadow energy? While Jin was still lost in thought, Murakan had gone berserk. He raced around the large room, overturning everything in a panic. "Where is it coming from? Is it here?" he roared, his eyes frantically searching for the source of the familiar energy. Seeing the chaotic scene, an idea flashed in Jin's mind. "So, should I try it?" he thought to himself, a mischievous smile briefly appearing on his lips. He called out, "Sir Murakan." Immediately, Murakan spun around, his face eager with a wide grin. "Oh, that's right, you know something, don't you?" Jin slowly held out his hand. "Are you talking about this?" A dark blue orb of energy enveloped by shadowy tendrils flared in his palm. Jin calmly explained, "My father said this power comes from the god of shadow, Solderet." His words hit Murakan like a bucket of cold water. The guardian dragon flinched, took a step back, his entire body trembling as he stared at the energy orb. He stammered in horror, cold sweat breaking out on his forehead. "Hey, Solderet, are you kidding me? Are you serious?" The harsh truth crashed down, causing Murakan to collapse. He sank to the floor, clutching his chest in utter despair. The 1,000-year pact that was promised, is this tiny child? This child?
Jin stood motionless, his heart pounding in his chest. Cold sweat trickled down the boy's temples as he faced the tall figure in a black cloak standing before him. After a long moment, the mysterious man spoke, breaking the silence. "Hey, kid." His deep, hoarse voice echoed. Murakan slowly knelt on one knee, lowering himself to eye level with Jin. "Yes, Sir Murakan," Jin replied politely, trying to keep his voice steady. Murakan scratched his head, looking a bit awkward and embarrassed. "You know, I actually made a promise to Solderet, and it seems the one who needs to cooperate with me to keep that promise is you." His words sent a jolt down Jin's spine. The boy was stunned, his azure eyes wide, unable to believe what he had just heard. A promise to Solderet? Murakan stood up straight, turned away, and sighed. "I will tell you the details later, but right now, I've just woken up, so my mind isn't quite clear. Plus, I don't think you'd understand because you're still too young." He paused for a moment, then turned back with a completely different look, serious and full of authority. "But, at the very least, I should formally introduce myself to the one who contracted with Solderet." As he finished speaking, a powerful surge of dark energy erupted from Murakan. The shadow energy swirled like a vortex, making Jin's hair stand on end and pushing the boy back in astonishment. Amidst the mystical black smoke, his voice boomed with authority, no longer holding any awkwardness. "I am Murakan, Solderet's representative, the Black Dragon."
In the dark, chaotic space, currents of shadow surged like an endless storm. A solemn, ancient voice echoed from the heart of the storm, sounding as if from 1,000 years ago. Murakan spoke, his tone solemn and firm. "Your friend and the last descendant of the first creature born from shadow. As per the millennium-old covenant, from now on I shall be by your side." With the oath, the shadows coalesced, forming a magnificent figure. A colossal black dragon appeared, its eyes glowing with powerful blue light, illuminating the dim space. Pure energy radiated from its body, causing everything around to tremble. Jin stood frozen, eyes wide, gazing in astonishment at the mythical creature before him. The dragon's promise still resonated in his ears, making it hard for him to believe. His small frame seemed so fragile before the black dragon's grand presence. The boy stammered, his voice lost in awe. "By my side?" A deep, majestic voice echoed, shattering the silence. The colossal Black Dragon Murakan lowered its vast head, its keen eyes fixed on the small figure before it. "Tell me your name, Solderet contractor." In stark contrast to the colossal creature's intimidation, Jin merely smiled faintly. His eyes shone with an unusual confidence and composure. The boy responded clearly, his voice pure yet resolute. "Jin Runcandel." With that, he slowly extended his small fist, gently touching the dragon's sturdy claw. He continued, his voice utterly fearless. "I am the 13th and youngest child of the Runcandel family." Jin stood firm, a small silhouette facing Murakan's enormous form. Around them, swirling currents of dark energy and blue light continued to churn, creating a scene both grand and potent.